Hello, good afternoon on Wednesday. It's hump day. Very pleased you're here. Today I'm going to talk again about an email that I got recently. Actually, it was a Facebook comment, and it was a really good comment because it's a very common thing. And it was about a horse that was going differently in different situations. And I hear this a lot, people say to me, oh, my horse is perfect, but... And it might be, somebody will come up to me and I'll say, oh, tell me about your horse. Oh, I'm a dressage horse, and I love dressage, blah, blah. And they'll start talking about it, and it turns out the horse is perfect, but won't load on the trailer. So, well, it makes it very hard to go to dressage events, and probably it's not quite perfect. But there's often a but like that. And the other things you often hear about the horse that loves trail riding but hates the arena, or loves the arena but hates trail riding. Anyway, this was a similar one to that. This was about a show jumping pony, and the horse was perfect under all conditions except for in the jumping arena, where it rushed through all the jumps at 100 miles an hour, and it put its head in the air and it got really scared and all of that sort of thing. So I wrote a quick comment. It was just on a Facebook comment to my free training, which is currently available. If you haven't got that, there's a link available. Go and get that. And it was a Facebook comment on there, and it's a very nice lady had written, I think it was her daughter's pony, and is telling me how beautifully the horse goes in all situations until it gets into the jumping arena, and then it just goes full bore, head in the air at all the jumps, and it's really quite scary. Clearly the horse is very panicked. I don't think they've had it all that long, so it's a learned behavior, and they've tried different bits. It doesn't like any bits. It's in a snaffle, I think, at the moment, which is great, and I think they were going to try something else, but anyway, they didn't really think a different bit was the answer. And so I wrote and said, well, I suggest that you get the horse into the engagement zone and start building that bubble of communication, and start with give to the bit, because it's a module in my training. It's really simple. Start there. That, for me, is what gets the horse to relax, and what starts building that bubble of communication. So go and do that. And she wrote back the next day and said, oh, we've done all of that. We're thinking, well, maybe try a Pelham or a Hackamore or something. And I went back and said, no, hang on. I don't think you have. The horse is already soft in the bridle. You tell me, yeah, that's great. But give to the bit isn't about really being soft in the bridle or being in frame necessarily. What it's really about is about relaxation first and building that bubble of communication. And until you've got that, it's really impossible to then move the horse from one situation to the other and expect it to remain the same. This horse has clearly had a really bad experience with show jumping in the past. Now, that in itself is a nasty thing to have to live with for the horse, So I think it's very important that we address that first, because it's horrible. If you've ever been scared in any situation, it's an awful, awful feeling. And we certainly don't want our horses ever feeling that. So I think it's terribly important that fear is addressed. And I don't think forcing the horse into that situation where it gets really anxious and, you blow its mind, it's not going to help. You're not going to get there by doing that. Flooding the horse with this isn't going to help you. So you need to step back and say, right, what are we missing? What's happening? Why is the horse so good in this situation and so bad in that situation? Why is the horse so relaxed here and so anxious here? And why can't we, as the same rider in both situations, communicate well enough for the horse to move it safely through those various different situations? So I think that is definitely where you need to start. And the thing about building this bubble of communication is the more you work on it, the stronger it gets. So it really is sort of riding with your fingers crossed if you don't have that bubble. Every time you get on the horse and you take it to a new environment, you're going, oh, okay, let's hope it goes all right today, or let's hope the horse doesn't see anything scary on the trail ride or something. And it's a terrifying way for you to ride. And I imagine it's probably equally scary for the horse, because nobody really is in charge, are they? Nobody's taking control of the situation. Nobody is necessarily asking the horse what to do. Yesterday we talked about the horse that was scared of something on the trail ride, and the owner was letting it just stand and look at the thing, and that worked sometimes and it didn't always work. Again, it's the same problem, isn't it? It's not having that good, strong bubble of communication that you're traveling in wherever you go, and that you can communicate with your horse, you can get the horse to relax. So yeah, again, that would be my first suggestion, would be go straight to give to the bit work. Now, because the horses that I ride all know this, so they know this before I get on, they travel in frame. People look at it and say, oh, it's in frame. I don't need that. I don't need a dressage horse. I don't want a horse that goes in frame. I'm just going to trail ride. I don't care if my horse, you know, has its head in the air or head on the ground or head wherever. I don't need it. But it's not about that. I know it looks like that superficially, but what it's really about is about communicating with the horse and getting the horse to relax. Because unless I can get the horse to relax, then the horse isn't actually taking on board any training that I think I'm giving it, because it's anxious. If a horse is anxious, then it really isn't learning, it's just surviving. I don't want my horse to have to feel like that when I'm riding. So my first priority is to get the horse into that bubble of communication, get it to relax, and then I can start moving its feet where I want it to go. Once we're in that bubble together and we're talking to each other, we can take that bubble with us on our travels. So that child could take that bubble from the arena into the jumping arena. And I don't think you can build that in a day and take it. What I do think you can do, I think you can start building it in a day for sure. You start building it in 10 minutes. And then you can slowly move with it. So the thing to do, it's the same. You come back to the trail ride and the scary object. You do the same thing. You get your horse back into your bubble, and then you can move slowly towards the thing and then away from it, and then towards the thing and away from it, until the horse is comfortable with the distance you're at. And that distance will get smaller and smaller and smaller from the scary object as you go. And what will also happen is that your bubble of communication will get stronger and stronger and stronger and hold the two of you there much more safely in the future. So every time you do this with the horse realizes that, oh, wow, if I just stay here and I stay relaxed and I listen to the cues and I respond to the cues, then I'm safe and we're all fine. And then you can actually take that with you and travel with it. The thing about that is, though, you can't buy a bubble of communication. They're not for sale. You can't walk into Horselands and say, one of those safe bubbles, thank you very much, and trot out with your bubble. You just can't do it. They're not for sale. You also can't get somebody else to put the bubble on your horse and step into it and hope that will work, because that won't work either, because that person, that trainer or whoever it is you've paid to do that, will have probably have a lovely bubble of communication with your horse, but it's not yours. Your horse is not responding to your cues. Your horse is responding to somebody else's. Making a bomb-proof horse, really a bomb-proof horse is a pretty shut-down animal. So what you want to make is a sensitive, responsive horse to your cues, and one that is relaxed when you're riding. And only you can build that bubble. And I think the thing is, we think it's much more difficult than it is, and it's really not that difficult. Yeah, it's really quite easy. It's just teaching the horse to relax and respond to pressure, release. That's all it is. And you will be very surprised at just how quickly you can do it. So anyway, go along, grab some of the free training up there. There's free training, 4 videos, and there's also a site to get all of the free training videos, and there's a 100-day email series, which I think will interest you because people are loving it, and we're getting a lot of chat on the blog about it as well, which is much fun. So do come along and join me for all of those things, and I will see you tomorrow because it's Throwback Thursday, and I love Throwback Thursday.